Real today, and we'll get all the reaction from financial authorities abroad and here at home. Well, the worst nightmare for many investors came true with that announcement. This morning, the news broke that the British people had decided to leave the European Union, the so-called Brexit. There was immediate panic across world markets, and the news has caused a rand blowout here at home. Investors are rushing to safe havens, which means they're dumping stocks and currencies in emerging markets like our own. The President has released a statement saying that South African financial institutions can survive this shock. Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan says the Treasury and the Central Bank will take any measures deemed necessary to deal with the implications. Well, the pound fell to a more than 30-year low this morning. It dragged the rand down with it, the currency at one stage slumping by more than 8% before recovering slightly. Around the world, markets are reeling. The CAC in Paris closing down 8% a short while ago. There are fears that Britain's decision will hit investment in the world's fifth largest economy. Some have warned that GDP, or total economic output, could fall by up to 6%. There are also concerns that Brexit will threaten London's role as a global financial capital and cause uncertainty in the world's biggest trading bloc. Well, let's cross now to Jack Parrock in Brussels, the headquarters of the European Union. Jack, is there a sense of panic? Is this a crisis for the EU?
Well, at the moment, I don't know about panic, but there's definitely a kind of still concern. People are definitely shocked by this. And the people working around the EU institutions are now going to have to really think about what they're going to do about this. The reality is now that the Prime Minister, David Cameron, who said he's going to step down in October, needs to invoke Article 50, which is to withdraw the UK from the European Union. But he said he'd leave that to his predecessor. That implies a 5-month period, essentially, of uncertainty. That's going to be bad for markets. But we've heard from many European commissioners and from the European Commission President himself, in fact, that they are looking for a swift implementation of this Article 50 of the treaties. We'll have to wait and see what happens as far as that goes, with the political turmoil back in the UK over the Prime Minister's resignation, and also a fight to try a move now to try and remove the Labour opposition leader Jeremy Corbyn as well.
What about the threat of contagion? All these other countries watching, perhaps wanting their own referenda. Is there any noises from Brussels to try and calm that eventuality, I guess?
So exactly, there's two kind of contagion issues here to start with, and the main one obviously is the rising Euroscepticism in countries like France, with the far-right leader Marine Le Pen saying they want a referendum on the heels of the Brexit vote today. Also, Geert Wilders, an anti-Islam, very Eurosceptic Dutch politician, is calling for the Netherlands to have a referendum as well. But at the moment, those referendums are nowhere near promised by the leaders of their countries. So unless those places take power, there will be some time before that happens. Now, as far as other kind of issues on the ground of what's going on at the moment, it's about what happens to the City of London. We've seen the French Finance Minister, Emmanuel Macron, making a little tour across Europe in the weeks running up to this, seeing if he can maybe drag some of the derivatives markets and some other currency, euro-traded things that go through London, perhaps into Paris. There's some suspicion that Frankfurt might take them, the German financial capital. Most think that the Germans would be slightly reluctant to try to be seen, especially to be taking too much of the power of the City of London over the coming weeks, but for fears that they would be considered the controlling factor. And there's some suspicion that maybe some of that work might go to Dublin. There's been rumours of companies, big banks, taking large numbers, thousands of their staff into different financial hubs. Some of them have denied it, but the City of London is really shaking at the moment.
Some economists here have warned of the UK being somewhat isolated. If it ever needs financial support, it's not going to get that from the EU. Is there also a sense of resentment at all that you're picking up, that the UK maybe has a sense that it's turned its back on the EU?
There's definitely the sense that it's turned its back, but the European Council President, for instance, said that the EU, will, as 27 members, will remain united. All of the presidents have been saying that they intend to make sure that the EU and the European project, the idea of the European project, continues. Now, sorry, excuse me. Now, the big issue here is really what happens in the UK in the coming days and weeks. Will they manage to hold on and secure their markets, bring the currency back up slightly, bounce back in the markets, and will they be able to renegotiate their trade deals quickly with Europe and the rest of the world as well to try and get everything a bit more stabilised?
All right, thank you very much, Jack Parrock, live from Brussels. A bit more details. The EU chiefs have told Britain to start negotiations to quit the bloc as soon as possible. This after the outgoing Prime Minister David Cameron said he would leave the negotiations to his successor. In a joint